Hi everyone, Angela here. Today I'm going to show you how to sew a couple of scrunchies by using the fabric from a t-shirt. Both methods are the same, but will have different measurements and just slightly different finishing. Links to all the tools I use will be in the description below. Make sure to comment if you haven't seen this method before. This t-shirt measures about 25 inches across or 62 centimeters, which will give us a very full scrunchie. If your t-shirt is narrower, that's absolutely fine. Anything from about 15 inches across and up will do. The first thing we want to do is get rid of this hem on the bottom. I'm using my quilting ruler and rotary cutter to straighten out the bottom. The first scrunchie I'll cut will be 7 inches or 18 centimeters wide. If your t-shirt has a label on the inside or a tag on the outside, we can just cut away the side seam. I'm now going to use a narrow quilting ruler and a vanishing fabric marker to mark out the next piece. This one will be a smaller scrunchie, so we'll make it 5 inches wide. Now this scrunchie needs to be a little bit shorter, so I'm going to cut it down to 18 inches or 46 centimeters across the t-shirt. And then I'm going to use my favorite Kai scissors to cut it out. Next we need to cut a piece of 1/4 inch elastic, 10 inches long. Put your ends together, wrap it around your finger, and tie it into a knot like you would a balloon. Pull it tight and leave a tail about 3/4 of an inch or 2 centimeters long. Just test it on your hair and adjust it if you need to. You can also use a hair elastic to sew your scrunchie. First we'll sew the 5-inch piece. We need to open it up and put right sides together. And then we're going to use a 3/8 of an inch or a 1 centimeter seam and sew along that short side. Back tack at the beginning and at the end of the seam. Now separate your fabric a bit and finger press that seam open. Next, open up your fabric so that seam that you've just sewn is on the bottom and in the center. Fold that top layer of fabric a couple of times. We want to make this nice and skinny. Bring the edges of the bottom layer together, matching at the seam, and then just place your hairband in between those layers. Match your seams again, and then just push that outer bit of the hairband to the left and out of your way before you put the fabric under to start sewing. Now, making sure nothing's in the way, start by back tacking and then sewing a couple of inches. With your needle down, pull that center fabric towards you as much as you can, and then pull that fabric between the elastic out a bit and start stitching again. So you just keep repeating this until you get close to the start of your stitching. As you get close to the end, you just need to push the fabric out just a bit past the start of your stitching. There we need to leave an opening about 2 or 3 fingers wide. Back tack and then remove your scrunchie. Now all you have to do is just spread out that opening. Use your thumb to push the start of the fabric through and then carefully pull out the right side of that scrunchie. My method eliminates having to feed the elastic through the scrunchie. You just have to get used to sewing the elastic without it getting in your way. Once it's all pulled through, just stretch the opening a little bit so that the fabric folds in. All you need to do now is just stitch close to the edge of that fold to close up that opening. Trim your threads and your scrunchie is complete. Next, let's sew the 7-inch wide scrunchie. Again, open up the t-shirt fabric so that we can put right sides together. This time we're going to start by back tacking and sewing about 1 inch down and then back tack again. Then we'll leave a space about 2 or 3 fingers wide, back tack, and then stitch right to the end of the seam and back tack again. Use your fingers again to press that seam open. Open up your fabric so that seam is on the bottom. Fold the top layer of fabric a couple of times so that it's nice and skinny again. So you're going to sew this scrunchie exactly the same as that first one, but this time you're going to use your knotted elastic. Just like before, while you're stitching, just make sure there's nothing in between those two outer layers that you're sewing together. The only difference this time is that you're going to stitch right to the very start of your stitching. You're not leaving an opening to pull the fabric through because you've already created an opening on the short seam. Again, use your thumb to push the fabric through that opening, and then just continue to pull out the rest of the fabric. Again, just stitch along those folded edges to close. Sewing it this way doesn't leave you with a seam along the outer edge of the scrunchie, giving you a cleaner finish. If you found this video helpful, make sure to like, share, subscribe, and turn on your notification bell so you don't miss any of my other sewing videos. Thanks again for watching and happy sewing!